Hi, it's me, Dave Crane. I hope you're well today. I hope you're feeling good and groovy. And I don't know why my voice went up high at the end, but it did. Today's show is all about how to present online. And I think it's a huge area that people should be considering if you're not doing it already now. If you're not doing video, then they should be doing video. And if you're not doing it effectively, like creating like a TV show, then there's zero excuse for not getting it right. Now, my dear friend Claire turned around and said, Dave, can you do something for students? And I said, well, what do you mean for students? I said, well, most of them have to present their theses and their ideas, thesis. No. In some cases, it might be feces, online. And they don't really know how to do it because they're not used to doing it. So can you share some ideas and some tips and some techniques and tools that people can use? So I said yes, and that's what today's session is all about. Forget the feces. You can't get it out of your head, can you? We're broadcasting now live to Twitter, to Twitch, to LinkedIn, to YouTube, and to Facebook. And I'd love your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, by the way, just Dave Crane. And there's loads of really cool stuff there that you'll notice that's different. And I've got some extra stuff there which you won't have seen before and some freebies. So it's really going to make you very excited when you go and have a look at it. We've got so much stuff to share with you. It's going to blow your mind. We're really going to concentrate on making sure today's show is incredibly groovy because the importance of doing it is massive. It's what everybody needs to consider. Now, before we get into it and before we go to the business blueprints, let's take a deep dive into why I do what I do, because that'll help you understand why you need to you need to do it as well. And then we'll share with you all the tips and tools that you need to be very effective creating content live online. This is Speak on Stage. So welcome back, and that's the importance of why it really matters to create your own TV show. The importance is that you can really brand yourself, connect with people all around the world, and may have noticed by now that the world hasn't really snapped back to the way it was. If anything, the connections that you've made now might be that you never get to see them face to face. We don't know when the travel industry is going to get back to normal. Plus also, is it really cost effective to pop over for a big meeting with everybody from all around the world, where now you can easily do it from a Zoom call or Meets or Teams? So we've got a very different world with different categories of business class and normal class for travel, but also you should think about the class and level of projection that you make when you do this kind of broadcast. Now, we'll be talking about creating your own TV show, but for now, I just want to talk about how to create something that's effective for you online, because I really believe that when you understand how to do it, it can make such a huge difference to positioning what you have for you and for your business. So let's dig deep now into the business blueprints here on Speak on Stage. So with that, what I'd like to say, first of all, as you know, we're broadcasting live onto Twitter and onto Twitch and to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. There's extra stuff there you may not have seen before, and also some really cool promotions coming up, which I need to tell you about, but I can't tell you about just yet, if you know what I mean. So with that, I want to share with you what it looks like to broadcast. And people say, well, Dave, it must be simple for you to broadcast. All your shows look like that when you're doing a proper broadcast. And when you do your things, it looks like that as well. Well, you're right and you're not right. Because, I mean, this is me talking about my Clubhouse. So, for instance, when you go to Clubhouse, for those of you who are on it, you can broadcast like this and so on. And I've got a session coming up tomorrow evening about how to create your own TV show. We've talked at length about how to create your own TV show. There you go. How to start your own TV show is there. And plus also, if you want to connect with me on Clubhouse, and go ahead and do that. But why do you need your own TV show? What's so important about it? Well, the fact is that when you create your own TV show, it gets you over any branding problems you have and marketing problems, because there's nothing better than creating somebody to know you, like you, and trust you, because they get to see you and understand the good, the bad, and in many cases, the ugly as well. So it means that your marketing campaigns become, well, it's actually when you do it really well, this becomes your side hustle and your hobby and the fun way that you link to people, and there's lots of ways of monetizing it. It means you're no longer thinking about what's in your local market. You've got a global market to play with instead. And you don't waste time saying, hi, how are you? Let me tell you what I do. Hi, how are you? Let me tell you what I do. You do it once and you send a link to people. They can see what you're talking about. So today's session, all about how to create your own online effectiveness, can be shown once by me, and then everyone else can go and see it on YouTube. That's how it works. And as you do it, most people can't do it, so you get respect from your peers. Your competitors go, that Scooby-Doo noise. And also it means that your customers also flock toward you because they're saying, wow, you've really stepped up your game. You create fans overseas, and also you save a fortune on all the other things you do, including staff, because you can do this with a relatively small team, and you can share your ideas with the world, and it's really effective. So I'd always recommend that that's the bottom line when it comes to relating and creating content that goes across the world. So how do you get started, Dave? Great question, I heard myself say. Well, this is it. You can do it as it's cost effective. If you look at this particular picture, it's a green screen for a wall, which means that you can change the backdrop. This is one that's used for a weather show. And he's saying, is this new? No, all weather reports have always been like this ever. That's how we do it. Green screen. And we superimpose it. As long as you don't wear green, in which case your body kind of disappears as the chroma key starts playing with it. The chroma key is very important, and it is just a green screen. You can buy that for buttons. Also, a computer, an iPad. There you can see monitors, so you can see what's actually going out there. Your camera, transmitter, Wi-Fi, and a tractor for being able to track along and have different shots. You don't need to have it quite as extravagant as that. In fact, to be honest with you, you can actually just start broadcasting once you've got your internet connection, that is, by doing something as simple as this. Can you see that? Now, as a gentleman there, looking at his lighting has to be important. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you just look at the setup here, he's talking into his phone. He's got his iPad there, probably with a mouse, so he can scroll up and down the scripting he's put together for himself. And also, he's got a monitor at the side of him there, so he can look at what's actually going on. But as for the expensive side of it, he's got an earpiece there for his microphone, so he can hear what's going out. He can check the levels, and also it picks up his voice rather well. Even if you're wearing like a proper headset, still works. And to make sure that he's looking at the right camera angle, it's all stacked up on books. So where do you go? How do you start? And what would you recommend, Dave, is the most effective way to have a look at doing this? We're going to share all that with you next on Speak on Stage. So there we go. We're going to play that later on, I think. Just been having a look through the kind of things we can share with you. And there's so much excitement to have. But before we get to the video vault, let's have a look at why it's important that you must master these strategies. And how easy is it to do so? Well, first, let's look at this. To be really honest with you, you have to know your material. Because even though I can mess about sometimes, it's clear I know what I'm talking about. Now, if you're a student and you're wondering about how am I going to manage all this, know your material beforehand. And what I would always say is don't spend time writing out a script of everything. Use bullet points. Bullet points are easy because all you need to do is have a glance at it. And if you put it on Post-it notes just below the camera, it means you're looking at the camera, you're glancing at your notes, and while you're taking a breath, you're just wondering in your head subconsciously what comes next, and you get straight into it. So make it as easy as you can do to be able to do it with bullet points. Next up, number 2, is this. Set up your image and your head and shoulders. What do I mean by head and shoulders in your image? Well, let me share this for you. Here we have head, here we shoulders, head, shoulders, knees and toes. You ever play that game? No? Just me. Okay, fine. Well, the fact is, if you think about what you see with news on CNN or Fox or wherever you watch, that setup is a perfect setup for broadcasting. Even looking at late night talk show hosts like John Oliver and Trevor Noah, or even Stephen Colbert, unless they've gone back to a proper studio, this is kind of a setup that they've got, and it's really effective to use. So what you do want is to set up your image. Now, your image is important because whatever's going on in the background is something that people will keep an eye on. So you want to make sure you don't distract people too much from all the stuff that goes on there as well. Next up, your eye level. You want to be looking straight across into the eyes of the person, the camera effectively. And here's the thing, my monitor of where I can see what's going out in the broadcast is down here. So if I look at that, I don't look at you. So you're thinking I don't pay attention to you, but I am. I'm used to the normal way of looking at somebody's eyes. If I want to look at you, I look up at this. And that's weird because there's two differences between the areas of the monitor. You want to actually shift it so what you're looking at is very close to where you are. So that makes it a lot easier. So if I literally just shift everything across to underneath where my camera is, it will seem much more effective to talk to you. So I can see what's going on now, and I can also see and monitor what's going on. Eye-to-eye contact. Now, if you don't have it set up at eye level, if I'm like that and looking up, I look like a little boy with a baldy patch on his head. If I'm looking down on you, it looks like I'm patronizing you. So eye-to-eye contact is perfect for doing this. Number three is setting up your sound, your microphone. I've already talked about having an earpiece in. You can have headsets and like that. It does look a bit weird, to be honest with you. It's nothing wrong with it. For me, I invested in having a microphone, and they can be super cheap and they can be super expensive. You can have them sort of hanging up here. There's lots of different places you can put them. Don't go there, Dave. But you don't have to spend a fortune. If you do use your laptop facilities, they're not as good as you buying something which can be really effective. A couple of $100 will get you a webcam, and the same again for getting you a decent microphone. If you just go with what you've got on your laptop, the camera is not very good and the microphone isn't very good. It will sound tinny, and you say, well, that's fine, they can still hear me. Yeah, the standards have gone up, I think. It's like going for a job interview, really, but just wearing like jeans and t-shirt. Yeah, you are covered. There's nothing blowing in the wind, but at the same time, it's not the same as wearing a decent suit and dressing up sharp for the interview. All right, number 5 is this. Your background. Like I mentioned about the suit, this is why I mentioned it. Whatever you have in your background will be something that makes people think about you. And it will also make people decide what they like about you. So for instance, my normal show looks like this. Speak on stage. But I can also change my background to make it fit wherever I am. So here I am in a coffee shop talking to you, maybe from the south of France, or it could be England, perhaps, not really sure. And as we do this, I can relax and chill out. I know it's Ramadan for many people, and I know it's fasting, but you can make it effective, and it is completely real like that. But I could be equally just on the beach, chilling like that. See? And the effectiveness could be even better if I decide I want to go to nighttime and maybe go for a fishing trip and just chill out and talk to you before we go there. I can do lots of different things that are interesting. This is nice and bright. This could be anywhere, maybe in Spain or the Algarve, just enjoying, relaxing and so on. And then we can go to a beachfront property. If I was talking about real estate, or I wanted to do a broadcast from a hotel, I could have all the different venues programmed in and talk to you and share this content with you like that. So that's why it can be so effective. Making sure where you are makes a huge difference as well. Okay, next up, let's look at this. Number 6, your lighting has to be right. Without the right lighting, you can't use the chroma key, which is the green screen I showed you earlier. And also, if the lighting's above you, you just use your normal lights, you end up with a bag under your eyes. And that can make you look like a panda or something from a horror movie. And no, nobody wants to look like that, not even me. Number 7 is prepare and practice your intros and outros. And put them on post-it notes in front of you if you need to. So right in front of you, you can stick up in front of the camera. It's small letters if you want it to be, that you don't block out anything. Hi, welcome to the show. So when I begin my show, it starts kind of like this. Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Welcome to Speak on Stage. Great to have you here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a ton of tricks all about how to be very effective and how to really broadcast online. And it could really help your business. And I could finish a show by saying, hi. Sorry, I wouldn't say by saying hi, because we just said hi. So thank you very much for watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to catching you next on Speak on Stage. And then I go, and I can play myself in with an intro and play myself out with an outro, and it becomes really professional. And you're probably thinking, Dave, you don't need to go that extravagant. Why do you have to do that? Well, you're right, you don't have to. But when nobody else is doing it, do you want to stand out and be really effective? If the answer is yes, then invest in a little. Make sure you get creative, because it does get appreciated by the people on the other side who say, wow, that makes a huge difference. Number 8 is this. You're talking to one person. Now, I'm not shouting. I just talk to you, and it feels like I'm having a relationship, a conversation, and I'm just really relating to you by having this kind of conversation. This is radio. This is TV. It's a one-to-one medium. It's not like working a big audience. When you work with a big audience, you say, how are you all doing today? Otherwise, it feels like it's too creepy and personal if you stare in one person's eyes when you've got a live audience. But that's not the same with this. Even though you might have 1,000 people watching it, 10,000, a million, or 3 or 1, you talk to one person and it personalizes for them. Let me illustrate why this is so important. Have you ever been driving in the car And the radio DJ comes on and says, how are you guys out there? How is everything for you? Are you all okay? And if you're driving your car, you think, what guys? Do you know there's somebody else in the car behind me? This is creepy. And the fact is, they've got it wrong. They should be talking to one person. And you suddenly feel that they're not interested in you. There's a disconnect because they're not talking to you clearly, they're talking to everybody, but you want them to be there in the car talking to you. You want it to be a personal relationship. And it's very much the case with this. That's why you love your late night talk show hosts, because they talk to you. The audience picks it up as well, but they're talking to the camera. So that's what you've got to do. And don't shout because it becomes intrusive. And also you'll overmod the microphones and it'll sound terrible. Number 9 is this one. If you do get it wrong, the audience, I've got my apostrophe in the wrong place, I haven't that yet. If you do get it wrong and you miss out on something, the audience won't know what you didn't say. Now, if you've got it all in bullet points, like I mentioned at the very beginning, then that's fantastic. But if you do miss out on something, people will fill the gap. So you can sort of pace yourself if you're counting it through like I do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know exactly where I'm going to be because the numbers are in front of me. But you might just have a load of bullet points that you want to share and you might skip and miss something. You can always go back and say, let me just go back and add something. In which case, nobody will be any the wiser that you've got it all in the wrong order. Or even if you finish something and don't say it, as long as they don't know, they won't care. They may turn around and say, but you missed out something. And you can say, yeah, but I was going to say that. But I would rather just not say anything because they'll just see the fact that you broadcast effectively as something that makes a big difference. And last but not least is this. Number 10, practice it again and again and again. Practice your broadcast offline, but have fun doing it. If you are taking exams, if you are doing things that you've got to broadcast and it is very effective, you've got to have people interacting, then you have to be live. Otherwise, Otherwise, do it as live. Record it and put it out. As long as people are interacting with you, it doesn't really matter. You get me? Good, fantastic. But have fun. This isn't the be all and end all of your life. It's just an exam or it's just talking to people. And take it from somebody who went out and I passed a load of exams. I'd failed some exams as well. Short term, it can make a difference. Long term, it won't make any difference at all. And don't get me started on education. The whole thing was set up to get people out the fields and into factories. And we're not in factories now. And if anything, we're at home. So it's all a load of... But don't get me started. Not all of it. Teachers, I buy into. But the education system needed a shake-up and a wake-up call. And this may well be it. So I would say that more than anything, this is your list. Let me just disappear like that. If you want to take a checklist of it, in fact, I'll disappear completely. Go completely invisible, take a screenshot of that. All the things that you need to do to be really effective so you get the very best out of your broadcasting. Just make sure you've got this when you go through to do your tests and your exams, and it should be fine. I know many people are saying, but yeah, Dave, that's not so simple. It is so simple. Think about it. Everybody can do this. All you got to do is trust yourself. Okay? Big smile. Big smile. And it should be okay. Have fun. And don't stress about it too much. You will be fine. I do breathing exercises every day to reduce my stress, my anxiety, and my deep loathing of... No, I just do it to relax and it makes me feel good and do some meditation every single morning. If you've got anxiety and challenges, as many people have, then breathing exercises are fantastic. Art of Living is the one I use. I spend about 45 minutes every morning to an hour. Just chilled out, relaxing. So it means that the rest of the day runs smoothly. And also I plan the rest of the day because I've got that incredible time just to think to myself. And when I do that, it makes me feel so much better. I hope you're enjoying it as well. There's loads of content and really cool stuff for you on this show. So with that in mind, let's summarize everything and see where we take it. And hopefully you should find it relatively easy to move on and do your broadcast after this.